Every professional wrestling fan at some point or another, without fail, will believe some sort of professional wrestling conspiracy theory. Because when a hobby like wrestling has been around for so long, and a company like the WWE has been around for so long, you're bound to build up these conspiracy theories. These theories can range from on-screen theories to conspiracy theories revolving around real-life situations surrounding professional wrestling. So today I opened up my platform to you, the viewers, because I asked you on X and in the YouTube community tab to tell me your craziest professional wrestling conspiracy theory. And some of you, Jesus Christ, need some tinfoil hats. So we're gonna be going over a bunch of these conspiracy theories and I'm gonna give you my thoughts on them. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know that you're gonna fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. And I know that a lot of my YouTube viewers are getting a little bit frustrated that I can't post the Patreon stuff on YouTube. I make sure that my YouTube subscribers still get daily content. That's never going to change. But the fact of the matter is that there's stuff on Patreon that I can never show on YouTube because of copyright restrictions. But so that at the very least you can experience what you'd be getting on Patreon, I've made one of the Wrestling is Cool Match Club matches available for free. So if you click the top link in the description or the link in the pinned comment, it's gonna take you right to the WLC Wrestling is Cool Match Club commentary, where Sancho and I watch the whole match with footage for you to be able to watch. And if you like it, just know that there's countless videos just like that are uploaded weekly. In fact, we're actually uploading 5 different Match Club matches every single week now. So yeah, go check out that free one. Again, link in the description or the pinned comment. All right, let's read your stupid shit. I think I actually really mean it this time. Let's read your stupid shit. CM Punk intentionally got himself fired from AEW to come back to WWE. I like this one. There's a lot to talk about, so let's split this up into 2 parts. Let's first talk about him actually returning to the WWE, because to me, that is something so crazy that I genuinely believe that no single one man could have orchestrated everything that needed to happen for CM Punk to return to the WWE, because it's not as simple as CM Punk leaving AEW and jumping ship to the WWE. There's so much more to it than just that. He needed to actually come out of retirement and fall back in love with professional wrestling, something that seemed incredibly unlikely based on the interviews that he was giving. And then he needed to quit or be fired from AEW, the company that got him out of retirement in the first place. But then he can't just jump ship to the WWE because other things needed to happen. Most importantly, he needed the right people in the corporate structure of WWE and TKO. Because let's face it, Vince McMahon would have never done business with CM Punk. He's made that quite perfectly clear. So not only did CM Punk need to come out of retirement and then leave AEW, he actually needed the entire Vince McMahon saga to happen. He needed TKO to purchase the WWE for $9 billion to oust Vince McMahon. Because without any of that stuff happening, I don't think that it's a viable option for CM Punk to jump ship to the WWE. I think he would have just re-retired. And then we needed the right era, the right place, the right time. And I think that the current era that we're in Chicago Survivor Series, it was just too perfect of a storm. So too many things, in my opinion, needed to happen for any one man like CM Punk to be able to orchestrate him leaving AEW to just simply jump ship to WWE. However, I think there's merit to CM Punk intentionally getting himself fired. Not because this is a CM Punk thing or a wrestling thing. That's just human nature in corporate America. So many people are constantly trying to get themselves fired in corporate America for various reasons, whether it's they just hate the place that they work, maybe they're trying to get a separation package, or maybe they're trying to bypass some sort of non-compete clause. So it's not that I think that this is a CM Punk exclusive issue that he would quit a company because he doesn't like it there. I just think that it's human nature. People do it all the time. So it's not crazy to think that CM Punk, a guy that's made it very publicly clear that he hated where he was at, he didn't see a vision for their long-term success, wanted to get out. And the fastest way to get out wasn't to work through his contract, it was to get his ass fired. So it's not a crazy conspiracy. John Cena's injury in 2007 prior to the Royal Rumble return was less serious than reported. It was only a work to make his recovery seem superhuman. I've never heard this before, but I kind of like it because it does make a lot of sense. What's the other alternative? That I'm supposed to believe that John Cena truly is this higher life form that could recover from an injury way faster than everyone else? I don't think so. In fact, I think it might just be brilliant marketing on the WWE side. That would be genius to market an injury to be this career-threatening injury only for him to come back earlier, thus making him look like a superhero, which is what they were trying to paint him as has in 2007 to about 2013, which is, in my opinion, like one of the most frustrating eras of John Cena. I really did not enjoy that run. But if John Cena is your golden goose egg in the WWE at the time, like it honestly is kind of a no-brainer to do some shenanigans like this. So you know what? I'm gonna choose to believe that this is canon. This is real. This one comes from Totally Not Mark, one of my favorite anime channels. Go check them out. I've always felt that John Cena's public-facing persona is far too polished and goody two-shoes to be a true reflection of who he is. This isn't to say that he's a bad guy necessarily, and there's no shortage of folks who say great things about him, but there are also plenty of instances / stories from backstage that also don't match his good guy persona, the Nexus being one of the most popular examples. I too am a fan of his US title run, but everything from 2007 through to that run was some of the most frustrating parts of wrestling for me, and honestly, that period pushed me away from it for years. This is all to say that I think John Cena is one of the best to ever cut a promo. He's never made a mistake as far as I recall, and he loves the business. I think he's a seriously intelligent person, and I think that that intelligence has given him the ability to say and do the right things in the public eye to mask how he truly is. I mean, after all of these years, he still claims to be natural and drug-free, but that seems astronomically unlikely given his physique. This is all to say is that I wouldn't be surprised if an expose is released one day on John Cena. Pardon the pun, but after all of these years, I still feel like we haven't seen the real John Cena. Lot to chew on here, Mark. I agree with you. 2007 to 2013, 2014 is an incredibly frustrating run of not just John Cena, but professional wrestling in general. Because it seemed like anything that was of substance was only booked around John Cena. Everything else, for the most part, seemed like an auxiliary piece of the WWE. As somebody that also routinely and regularly has been working out for the better part of 12 years, I will never in my life believe that John Cena is natural. You just don't get that way with chicken and broccoli, allegedly. Again, if you want to try and tell me that John Cena is this higher life form, I mean, go ahead and try. But Mark, if you want to see perhaps like what the real John Cena is like, you need to watch Total Divas / Total Bellas. There are some crazy clips of John Cena maybe actually being himself, and he is a huge piece of shit. So if you want to see a different part of John Cena, just on YouTube, look up John Cena and Nikki Bella have dinner at home. It'll blow your mind. I also just don't think that anyone like John Cena could realistically actually exist. With how he's portrayed on screen, he's borderline a saint, basically. And I just don't think that perfect humans like that exist. I just feel like everyone has a little bit of darkness to them. That is to say, I also believe that John Cena is far more good than he can probably be bad. That being said, let's not forget about Hulk Hogan that presented an image of being a God-loving American, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, etc. Only for information to seep out about him not necessarily being the greatest human being. But it seems like that information about Hulk Hogan just kept coming out and coming out and coming out, and that just doesn't seem to be the case for John Cena. So perhaps, and again, this is my opinion, I think if there was to be an expose of John Cena, I think it would not demonstrate that he's a bad human, because I just don't see any evidence to say that he is. I would just say that he might just be more cutthroat in the back than people maybe actually think. I just don't think that you could stay at the top of shark-infested waters like the WWE without having some claws on you. And that typically probably means stepping on a lot of toes. I believe that some popular internet wrestling community accounts are just WWE and AEW management stirring up drama amongst the online fan base to keep the conversation going. If they're smart and want to do guerrilla marketing, which is like grassroots and trying to get people to talk about a particular thing, then 100%, I already believe that this is a thing. Hell, a lot of people think that I'm one of those accounts for the WWE. They call me an industry plant. This is also just a common practice in the corporate world where you have these sock accounts talking positively about your product and negatively about others. And I just don't think the WWE and AEW would be above that. I'm sure they're probably doing it right now. Maybe you're watching a video from somebody that does it right now. The John Cena losing streak at SummerSlam is to repent for burying Nexus at SummerSlam. Oh, do you think that this is like some self-lashings, you know, like the 13 whiplashes for all of the sins that he's committed? It could be something like that. As much as I am starting to believe that John Cena did kind of unnecessarily bury the Nexus, I think that they would have ended in the same place either way. I just don't think that anyone in there had the star power to truly become this superstar that people are romanticizing that they would. But I think it's a hilarious thought of like John Cena just like losing sleep at night, and that this is the only way that he can get some good night's sleep by repenting at SummerSlam by losing all the time. Little Jimmy is real. Don't see the lie here. Pretty sure that everyone knew that. My favorite wrestling conspiracy theory is that WWE paid Vince Russo to help take down WCW, and that there were other double agents there as well. I love these corporate espionage theories. There's quite a few of them. Hell, there was one that Hulk Hogan went to TNA to go sabotage them to make sure that WWE stayed up on top. Ultimately, I just don't think that Vince Russo was that valuable to the WWE, and maybe they knew that he wasn't as great as advertised, and they just happily let him go over there to do his shitty booking decisions and destroy WCW from within. Maybe it was a WWE plot, but I don't think that Vince Russo was in on it. Chelsea Green! Yeah. Holy shit! Oh my God! Oh my goodness! Oh my God!
Didn't get to the match.
So dumb. That was a sneak peek of this week's insane lineup of matches for the Wrestling is Cool Match Club, which is available exclusively on patreon.com/SantiZap. This week, you're getting the NXT North American title match, an intergender match between Chelsea Green and Penta, a death match between Samoa Joe and a guy named Necro the Butcher, the Wyatt family versus The Shield, and Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes. I genuinely believe that this is going to be our best week of content on the Patreon ever. It's just more content that I can't show you on Patreon, and with how violent some of these matches are this week, I couldn't show them to you on YouTube even if I wanted to. On top of that, you get the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days early. This week's episode is already up. You get the Raw reviews and the SmackDown reviews as well. We're doing our absolute best to get you the best value on this Patreon. I really think that if you check it out, even for just 1 month, that you're gonna fall in love with it. So again, that's patreon.com/SantiZap, patreon.com/SantiZap. Check the top link in the description or the link that I'll put in the pinned comment. All right, back to the video. I think the only reason Asuka lost her undefeated streak was because WrestleMania 34 was in New Orleans, which is the same place that the Undertaker lost his streak, so I have always thought it was a respect thing to Undertaker. If his streak couldn't continue in New Orleans, then yours shouldn't either. I never really thought about that particular aspect of Asuka losing her streak at WrestleMania. I always just thought it was a terrible decision, but this is kind of a neat way to look at it. I think it's a stretch, don't get me wrong. I think you're crazy and you are wearing a tinfoil hat, but it does make the loss to Charlotte sting a little bit less. So what, is New Orleans just the place where dreams go to die? Is that what we're saying? SantiZap is a WWE industry plan. There you go, we were just talking about this. They're trying to get the title onto the final boss before the Netflix deal begins. Dude, we saw how much moving power The Rock had when he was in the WWE that I wouldn't be surprised if this is the truth. On top of that, at the very least, from an on-screen perspective, we've been led to believe that The Rock was a key player in negotiating this deal for Netflix. And I'm sure that part of the deal was him actually appearing on Raw and on all of these shows that are now on Netflix. At least I think that's a fair deduction to make with the information that we have. And if you're gonna move to Netflix where there's 250 million subscribers, I don't think it's crazy to say that the WWE is gonna put their most precious title on the most popular guy to make sure as many of those 250 million people have a reason to click on Monday Night Raw that night because they recognize The Rock. It's not a crazy thing to say, dude. I believe that not all, but some of the recent injuries have been a work. Injuries like Lashley, Zelina, Dom, and Cruz del Toro that seemingly happened out of nowhere with no sign of it actually happening. I believe these injuries could be a part of the Uncle Howdy / Wyatt Six storyline. I mean, I don't know how. I feel like you're just connecting dots for the sake of connecting dots. I don't know how we get there. I'd be interested to hear, your expanded thoughts on this. I don't know why injuring Zelina Vega and Dominic Mysterio would be part of Uncle Howdy's plans. Lashley, on the other hand, I can actually believe because that was Bray Wyatt's last feud, and the last time that we saw Uncle Howdy, he got his ass beat by Bobby Lashley. But everyone else that's on this list, I don't see how we can make connections. So I'm gonna call you crazy on this one. The one who threw the pie at Kevin Owens was John Cena. Okay. What I'm not gonna allow in this video is for this to just become the John Cena slander video, because that's what it's become. Show me one shred of evidence that it was John Cena, because I know that you can't. This is libel, this is slanderous, and you should apologize immediately. Elias and Ezekiel are actually the same person. The photo they showed of them together looked Photoshopped. As somebody that's a content creator that does Photoshopping and is basically a professional graphics artist, I could tell you that you're just wrong, dude. Like, look at this photo. What could possibly make you think that this is Photoshop? I just believe that you just don't have the artiste eyes that I have to be able to pick that out. Goldberg ended Bret Hart's career on purpose. Or Goldberg is just not very good at his job. Vince told WWE doctors to not clear Daniel Bryan because he didn't want Daniel Bryan overshadowing the company and Roman anymore, only changing his mind when Bryan said he'd go to Ring of Honor. I've always thought that the Daniel Bryan not being cleared thing seemed a little bit sketchy, and now I know it's sketchy after all of what he's been doing in AEW. That man is having like a crazy ass match every single month. I don't understand why WWE couldn't clear him. Am I supposed to be led to believe that AEW is just so irresponsible that they're willing to put this guy that, according to the WWE, is one slight bad breeze away from being on death's door? No, I'm sure AEW has their doctors and they probably said, dude, yeah, you're fucking fine. So I do think that there is more to the story that we aren't being told about Daniel Bryan being withheld back in the WWE. And if we want to look at the timing of things, you know, you're not too crazy for saying what you did, because Roman Reigns was very clearly the guy that the WWE wanted everyone to root for, not Daniel Bryan. WWE are secretly preparing Stardust's return to face Cody for the Undisputed Championship. Well, that's fucking stupid, but I don't hate the idea if like the Wyatt Six were to, or Uncle Howdy's group were to come out and confront Cody, and maybe like one of the things that happens is that they've got a guy dressed up like Stardust and it becomes like Link versus Dark Link from the Ocarina of Time. I don't know, I'm just gonna throw that out there. I refuse to believe that the ending to the 2005 Royal Rumble was botched. It was too perfect in so many factors. So I'm gonna turn this around on you, okay? It was so perfect, so pristine, so perfectly well timed that in my opinion, the only way that it could have happened was a botch. I don't think that you can plan that. I feel like if you try to plan it, somebody's gonna screw it up. I think the only way that that Rumble ends the way that it did is some sort of crazy divine intervention. And fate, being the divine intervention here that I'm talking about, just wanted it to look perfect. Because if you plan it, somebody screws it up for sure. Changing a wrestler's name when they enter the WWE was not about erasing legacy, it's about making people talk about, quote, why does X have a new name? That way you get publicity for the old legacy and start building the new one. I mean, maybe, but I think it's just simpler than that. I think the WWE or the new company that that wrestler goes to wants to own the rights to the name. That way, if that wrestler becomes big in the WWE and they then want to leave the WWE to go somewhere else, they can't use the name that made them big in the WWE. It's probably just that. I doubt it's this. Seeing Cara flopped in WWE because they wanted to stop Mystico from becoming the next El Santo. Del Rio helped in that. They didn't need a Mexican superstar to start influencing the Hispanic market. They hired him just to have him fail. It kind of reminds me of when like these big pharma companies will buy some tiny company that maybe just came up with the cure for cancer only to like destroy it and make sure it never sees the light of day. I feel like that's kind of what you're saying, where they saw this budding superstar in Mexico and Mystico, so they're like, we're gonna take him, then we're gonna destroy him so that when he goes back to Mexico, he's gonna be fucking nothing. For this conspiracy theory to be a thing, it would require the WWE to be run by some crazy, evil, maniacal supervillain, and I don't think that that was the case. The Bayley not being on a poster thing is a running joke and will probably be in a storyline someday. Somebody must know that this is happening, and this has to be happening on purpose. Look at the King and Queen of the Ring poster. It's basically got every champion. At the very least, it's got all the singles champion except Bayley for some weird reason. It's very odd. I think it would be cool if they at some point use it as a WWE like on-screen storyline. I'd be down for that. A common one that I've seen and that I can buy into is that Roman Reigns faked his COVID so that he didn't have to drop the title to Lesnar. This obviously would have completely changed the course of wrestling history as we know it. My toxic trait as a wrestling fan is that this is the conspiracy theory that I buy into. Obviously, it'll never be proved. No one will ever own up to it, but like, dude, come on. Like, it's just, come on. Whether it was Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman coming up with this tactic, I just see it as, I don't know if it was Roman himself, Paul Heyman, maybe Triple H in the back trying to puppeteer things, but it just seemed just too unlikely. And it was very clear that WWE was dead set on putting a title on Lesnar. Like, Lesnar definitely was going to be Roman Reigns. Because otherwise, why did Lesnar walk out with the WWE Championship on that very same show on a match that he wasn't scheduled for? So again, that's my toxic trait as a wrestling fan. This is, you know how I said at the beginning of the video that every wrestling fan believes in a conspiracy theory? This is the one I believe. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching this video. That's it. I'm done. Get out of here.